Hello, and welcome to TerraNash. I'm Aiden, your narrator for tonight. Let's take this time together to step away from the rush of the day and ease into a world of dreams and wonder. Tonight, I'll guide you on a journey to an enchanted realm where the gentle light of spring dances with the mysterious shadows of the underworld. A world where lush meadows and blooming flowers contrast with the soft, enigmatic glow of a hidden realm. A world where ancient myth and tender destiny intertwine. Before we begin, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you listening from, and what time is it as you settle in to hear this story? Your thoughts and suggestions inspire us, so please share in the comments below what kinds of tales you'd like to hear next. If you'd like even more from TerraNash, check out our Patreon. There, you can get early access to all our stories, along with a curated Spotify playlist designed to enhance your journey to relaxation. I also have an important update for you. Currently, less than 10% of our viewers are subscribed to the channel, meaning over 90% haven't subscribed yet. If you've been enjoying our bedtime stories, subscribing is a simple, free way to support us. Our goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers, at which point we'll be able to remove all mid-roll ads, ensuring a completely uninterrupted and relaxing experience for you. Your support truly means the world to us, and together we can make TerraNash an even more peaceful place for storytelling. Now, close your eyes and take a deep breath. Let the weight of the day drift away as you sink into the comfort of your bed. Our tale tonight begins in the delicate balance between light and shadow, where the radiant goddess Persephone and the enigmatic Lord Hades share a destiny written in the stars. In a world where the promise of spring meets the deep, transformative rhythms of the underworld, their meeting is more than a myth. It is a journey of renewal, transformation, and the gentle uniting of opposites. As we follow their story, you'll discover that even in the most unexpected unions, there is the promise of growth and the beauty of finding balance amidst life's eternal cycles. So, let your breathing slow, let your body relax, and allow the intertwined paths of light and darkness to guide you into a peaceful, renewing sleep. Enjoy this timeless tale of Persephone and Hades, and may its gentle rhythms carry you into a night filled with dreams and wonder. In the gentle embrace of an endless spring, the world awoke to the laughter of a young goddess named Persephone. The morning light filtered softly through the blossoms, each petal shimmering like a whispered promise of renewal. In this enchanted landscape, every dewdrop held a secret song, and every breeze carried a delicate note of nature's lullaby. Persephone wandered freely through sprawling meadows, where wildflowers bowed gracefully under the caress of the wind. The earth beneath her bare feet was soft and welcoming, a reminder of the nurturing bond between nature and the divine. Birds chirped in harmonious unison, as if to celebrate her presence, and the ancient trees, guardians of time, seemed to lean in closer, their rustling leaves murmuring gentle greetings. In her daily wanderings, Persephone discovered hidden clearings where the sunlight danced upon small crystal streams. Here, she would pause and listen, not to the demands of the outside world, but to the quiet rhythm of her own heart. It was as if every moment was a precious gem, carefully placed by fate, inviting her to explore the delicate interplay between innocence and the promise of growth. The scene was one of utter simplicity and quiet beauty. Even as she laughed and played, there was a subtle awareness in Persephone's eyes, a knowing that life, in all its wonder, held mysteries yet to be unraveled. It was in these early moments, amid the tranquility of the dawn, that the seeds of her future destiny were sown. The air itself hinted at change, whispering softly of cycles yet to come, setting the stage for the deeper journey that lay ahead. As the seasons gently turned, a peculiar stillness descended upon the edges of Persephone's beloved meadows. One serene twilight, when the sky was painted in hues of lavender and gold, she ventured farther than ever before. Guided by an instinct as old as the earth, she found herself before an ancient forest, a realm where the familiar gave way to the mysterious. The forest was a world apart. Here, shafts of light broke through the canopy in graceful, slow-moving streams, and every rustle of leaves seemed imbued with quiet intent. As Persephone stepped into this shadowed domain, the soft earth cradled her steps, and an inexplicable sense of calm mingled with anticipation. The forest whispered secrets in hushed tones, as if it were sharing confidences meant only for her. Deep within the forest, nestled among twisting vines and wild ferns, she discovered a hidden garden. It was a secret sanctuary untouched by the clamor of the everyday world, a place where time appeared to slow, allowing the quiet beauty of nature to unfurl in its own gentle rhythm. Flowers of every color and shape bloomed with an unhurried grace, each petal and leaf arranged in a pattern of divine symmetry. In the heart of this secluded haven, an old stone fountain trickled with water that sparkled under the fading light. Persephone sat by its edge, her fingers trailing through the cool water as she pondered the subtle messages of the garden. Every ripple seemed to carry whispers of fate, hints that her path was intertwined with something larger and more profound than the simple joys of her everyday life. As night began to gently fall, casting a soft glow upon the garden, Persephone felt a stirring, a gentle pull from the unseen corners of her destiny. It was as if the garden itself was urging her to listen closely, to pay heed to the quiet voices of the earth that spoke of transformation, growth, and the inevitable cycles of life. In this moment of tranquil introspection, the seeds of her future journey were being sown, and the whispers of fate promised that her life would soon blossom into a tale of wonder and revelation. As the days grew richer with the quiet wisdom of nature, a subtle shift began to ripple through the land. One late afternoon, when the sky was brushed with shades of indigo and the soft glow of twilight lingered, Persephone felt an unusual pull at the edges of her consciousness. It was as if the earth itself was calling her toward a realm beyond the sunlit meadows, a realm where shadows danced with light in a silent, mysterious waltz. Following the gentle summons, Persephone found herself drawn to an ancient pathway, its stones smooth and cool underfoot, leading toward a natural archway in a rocky hillside. Here, the boundary between the world she knew and another realm grew faint. A quiet mist, almost ethereal in its presence, began to unfurl around her, blurring the familiar with the unknown. In this transitional space, the very air whispered of cycles and secrets older than time. It was here that she first encountered Hades, not as a figure of menace, but as a guardian quietly attuned to the delicate balance of life and death. Hades emerged from the shadows with a measured grace that softened the imposing nature of his domain. His eyes, deep and contemplative, held the wisdom of endless nights and the serene stillness of a starlit sky. In his presence, there was an undeniable sense of equilibrium, a calm assurance that all things, even those shrouded in darkness, were part of a greater, harmonious cycle. Without harsh words or sudden movements, Hades communicated in the silence between heartbeats. His voice, when it came, was soft and resonant, as though it were woven from the same threads as the wind and the rustle of leaves. He spoke of transitions, of the beauty that lay in endings and beginnings, and of the unseen tapestry connecting every realm. For Persephone, the encounter was both mysterious and strangely comforting, a gentle invitation to look beyond the surface of her world and consider the quiet magic of transformation. In that moment of delicate communion, the boundary between the light of the upper world and the soft, enigmatic realm beyond blurred. The call of the underworld was not a harsh decree, but a subtle beckoning to embrace a destiny that promised growth through contrast and balance. The air thrummed with the promise of undiscovered truths, and Persephone sensed that her journey was about to enter a realm where darkness and light intertwined in a dance as old as time, as old as the days that followed brought with them an undercurrent of gentle inevitability. In the hush of a late summer twilight, as the world around her glimmered with the quiet luminescence of fireflies and the soft murmur of the night, Persephone's life took an unexpected turn. The hidden allure of the unknown beckoned her ever more insistently, and the boundaries of her familiar paradise began to dissolve. In a moment that was as sudden as it was tenderly fated, the earth beneath her feet seemed to shift. The ancient pathway, now lit by a spectral glow, led Persephone downward, into a realm that defied the ordinary cadence of daylight and shadow. It was not an act of force, but rather a quiet, almost ceremonial drawing away from all that was familiar, as though the earth itself were cradling her into its deep, timeless heart. In this gentle descent, the passage to the underworld was revealed not as a place of terror, but as a sanctuary of introspection and transformation. The soft hum of the world above was replaced by an ambient melody of quiet echoes and distant, comforting murmurs. The surroundings, neither stark nor forbidding, were imbued with an otherworldly beauty. Silvery mists swirled around ancient stone arches, and delicate luminescence highlighted the contours of a hidden landscape. where every shadow held a secret promise. It was during this tranquil passage that Hades' role shifted from that of a silent guardian to the orchestrator of an unexpected destiny. With a graceful yet determined gesture, he gently guided Persephone deeper into the underworld. In this moment, the act of her departure felt less like an abduction and more like an initiation, a soft severing of one phase of life to give rise to another. There was sorrow in leaving behind the tender light of the upper world, yet also an undeniable wonder at the prospect of what lay ahead. Persephone's heart, though touched by the bittersweet ache of farewell, beat with a quiet resolve. The underworld, with its calm and unhurried rhythm, whispered of mysteries to be embraced and inner truths to be discovered. Each step into the dimly lit corridors of this ancient realm was a step toward understanding the intricate balance between loss and renewal. Thus, the descent was not a descent into darkness, but rather a transformation into a new state of being, a voyage that promised not despair, but the gentle unfolding of a destiny woven with the threads of both light and shadow. In the serene silence of that pivotal moment, Persephone's journey deepened, and the promise of rebirth, echoing in every soft, measured step, began to blossom. After her descent into the underworld, Persephone found herself enveloped in a realm of hushed contrasts, a place where the play of light and shadow revealed secrets not meant for the hurried eye. Here, in the soft, ambient glow of hidden luminescence, the underworld was less a prison and more a sanctuary of introspection and quiet wonder. The landscape was a study in delicate balances. Faint light seeped through crevices in ancient rock, casting patterns that danced upon the walls of vast subterranean corridors. In these moments of dim illumination, Persephone's eyes learned to see beauty in subtlety. Every rock, every echo of water, gently trickling along stone paths, whispered of the eternal cycle of endings and beginnings. Alone but not isolated, Persephone began to explore her new surroundings. Each step was accompanied by a silent dialogue with the space, a slow conversation where she learned the language of the underworld. Here, in the heart of shadows, the atmosphere was thick with memories of the past and hints of hope for the future. It was as if the very stones beneath her feet held the knowledge of countless cycles of life, patiently waiting to share their wisdom. In these quiet moments, Hades made his presence known once more, not as a stern overseer, but as a gentle guide who seemed to understand the fragile interplay between light and dark. He would appear at the edges of her wanderings, offering a soft word or a reassuring nod, and sometimes even a silent gesture that spoke of compassion and shared destiny. His demeanor, far removed from the harsh images of a tyrant, was instead that of a caretaker, a keeper of a delicate balance between the visible and the unseen. Amid this interplay of gentle shadows and reflective light, Persephone discovered inner reserves of courage and curiosity. While the initial shock of her new existence lingered, the underworld began to reveal its own quiet rhythms. There were moments of breathtaking silence, a suspended breath of time where the heartbeat of the earth could be heard. And each of these moments nurtured a growing understanding that even in darkness, beauty and meaning could flourish. In the calm depths of this shadowed realm, Persephone's journey evolved into one of inner discovery, inviting her to embrace the nuanced dance between solitude and connection, fear and wonder. Every quiet step further into the unknown became an exploration of her own spirit, echoing with the promise that understanding could be found even in the softest corners of darkness. In the midst of the underworld's muted splendor, Persephone's heart stirred with the anticipation of discovering something unexpected, something that defied the stark contrasts of her surroundings. Wandering deeper along a hidden path, lined with ancient carvings and gentle, echoing footsteps, she began to sense the presence of a sanctuary that pulsed with a warmth unlike any she had known since her time in the sunlit meadows above. As if guided by an unseen hand, Persephone arrived at a secluded clearing that seemed to exist outside the ordinary flow of time. Here, a wondrous garden unfolded, a magical enclave, bathed in a subtle luminescence that merged the cool serenity of the underworld with the gentle vibrancy of life. The garden was a secret haven, its beauty hidden away from the harsh judgment of daylight and embraced by the tender caress of twilight. Every element in the Garden of Elysium resonated with quiet harmony. Flowers of unusual hues, each petal imbued with a soft glow, bloomed in clusters that defied the somber reputation of their surroundings. The air was fragrant with a blend of delicate perfumes, aromatic reminders of renewal and the promise of growth. Verdant vines wound gracefully around ancient statues, and soft, clear water trickled from an old fountain, its surface capturing the reflection of the subtle light as if echoing an inner dawn. Here, amidst this sanctuary of renewal, Persephone discovered that the underworld held more than quiet sorrow. It cradled the potential for rebirth. The garden whispered of cycles that transcended the binary of light and dark, a testament to the natural law that even in the depths of night, the seeds of new beginnings could be sown. In this peaceful retreat, the boundaries between despair and hope dissolved into a serene understanding of transformation. Seated by the fountain, Persephone allowed herself to rest and reflect. The gentle trickle of water, the soft rustle of leaves, and the quiet murmur of unseen voices combined into a lullaby of reassurance. It was in this sanctuary that she began to perceive the underworld not as a realm of endless loss, but as a canvas upon which the artistry of life's perpetual renewal was delicately painted. In the embrace of the Garden of Elysium, Persephone felt a deep stirring, a call to accept the dual nature of existence. Here, the dark and the light were not adversaries, but partners in the eternal dance of life. With each breath of fragrant air and every silent conversation with the living earth, she came to understand that within this hidden oasis lay the keys to embracing both her past and her potential future. This revelation, both tender and profound, would serve as a guiding light on her journey of transformation, ensuring that even in the heart of shadows, the promise of a radiant new dawn could always be found. In the muted glow of a cavern adorned with shimmering crystals, the air shifted in a way that hinted at long-hidden truths. Persephone, resting by the side of a softly gurgling stream, sensed that the calm of the underworld was about to be stirred by a revelation. It was in this intimate chamber, where the boundary between shadow and light blurred, that Hades chose to share a part of himself that had been concealed by centuries of myth and misconception. Sitting together on a smooth stone bench, Hades' gaze softened as he observed the gentle resolve in Persephone's eyes. He began to speak, his voice low and resonant, a sound that mingled with the quiet hum of the underworld's eternal pulse. "I have long been seen as a lord of darkness," he said, "but darkness and light are two sides of the same coin. I am not merely a keeper of endings, but a guardian of transitions, a custodian of balance." His words unfurled slowly, like tendrils of mist. Hades revealed that his role was not to dominate, but to nurture the cycle of rebirth. He spoke of the underworld as a realm of transformation, a place where every ending was paired with a beginning. The stoic, somber figure that Persephone had encountered was now softened by the warmth of his confession. There was vulnerability in his eyes, a gentle openness that contradicted the harsh legends of old. For Persephone, this admission was a revelation that challenged all she had assumed about her fate. In that quiet moment, the underworld transformed from a place of inevitable despair into a sanctuary of renewal and hope. Hades confessed his own loneliness and the burden of misunderstood duty. A duty that, over millennia, had grown heavier under the weight of misinterpretation. Yet his heart, though shrouded in the mystery of the ages, beat with a compassionate rhythm that resonated with the natural cycles of the world. As the words settled between them, the cavern seemed to glow a little brighter, as if the truth itself had cast away some of the lingering shadows. Persephone listened intently, her inner world expanding to accommodate this newfound understanding. The twist in their tale was not one of betrayal or subjugation, but of unexpected kinship. A realization that Hades was not the captor of souls, but their gentle guide through the labyrinth of life and death. The revelation transformed their relationship. What had begun as an uncertain, almost fated encounter was now evolving into a meeting of equals, each with their own scars, strengths, and profound capacities for renewal. In the quiet intimacy of that cavern, Persephone saw Hades not as a grim overseer, but as a kindred spirit who shared in the delicate art of balance, of nurturing life, even in the most unlikely places. In the wake of the profound revelation, a new chapter of understanding unfolded for Persephone, with the truth of Hades' nature echoing softly in her heart. She began to see the world through a lens that recognized the beauty in contrasts. The underworld, with its interplay of gentle shadows and fleeting luminescence, was no longer a realm of stark divisions, but a tapestry woven from the threads of both light and dark. Together, Persephone and Hades embarked on quiet journeys through the hidden corridors of the underworld, where each step was a lesson in balance. They explored vast chambers, where pools of reflective water captured both the pale light of distant stars and the deep hues of Earth. In these mirrored spaces, the duality of existence was laid bare, each reflection a reminder that every element of life had its counterpart, its necessary complement. During their wanderings, Hades introduced Persephone to the ancient lore etched into the very walls of the realm. Stories of cycles and transitions, whispered from carvings that had withstood the passage of time. These narratives spoke of a world where growth sprang from decay, and where the end of one season gracefully heralded the birth of another. In embracing these lessons, Persephone discovered that her own duality, her identity as both the gentle bringer of spring and the poised queen of the underworld, was not a curse, but a blessing. It was the embodiment of life's perpetual rhythm. As they shared quiet moments beneath vaulted ceilings, where soft, natural light filtered in through hidden openings, the pair began to merge their worlds. Hades, once seen solely as the ruler of an isolated realm, now revealed his role as a bridge, a link connecting the upper world and the underworld. His presence became a comforting reminder that all experiences, no matter how disparate, were interwoven in the cosmic dance of renewal. Persephone's heart, once torn by the abruptness of her descent, now beat in tune with a newfound serenity. In Hades' thoughtful gestures, a reassuring hand on her shoulder, a shared smile in the dim glow of bioluminescent flora, she recognized the strength in vulnerability and the beauty in acceptance. Together, they began to shape a reality where the divisions between life and death, light and dark, were not barriers, but invitations to embrace complexity. In embracing duality, Persephone and Hades fostered a quiet revolution within the underworld. They initiated small acts of transformation, reviving withered groves with gentle care, inviting spirits to share in the solace of renewal, and creating spaces where the wisdom of the past met the promise of future beginnings. These acts were not grand declarations, but soft ripples that spread throughout their shared domain, gently shifting the paradigm of an ancient realm. Thus, in the tender embrace of duality, the story of Persephone and Hades evolved into one of mutual growth and harmonious coexistence. Their journey, a delicate interplay of revelation and transformation, became a living testament to the idea that true balance is found when one learns to see beauty in both the light and the dark, and when differences are celebrated as integral parts of a wondrous, ever-turning wheel of life. As seasons shifted in quiet succession, a gentle transformation spread across both the upper world and the underworld. With Persephone and Hades now united in understanding and purpose, they embarked on a heartfelt quest to dissolve the old boundaries that had long divided the realms. Their shared journey became a living metaphor, a soft bridge woven from compassion, wisdom, and the timeless rhythm of nature. Together, they ventured through landscapes that defied conventional limits, from sunlit meadows at the border of the living world to the hidden groves of the underworld, bathed in a serene, muted glow. Along these intertwined paths, rituals of reconciliation were born. Hades and Persephone, with their hands gently clasped, invited the spirits of both realms to join in a celebration of cycles. Every step was deliberate, every gesture a promise that life could flourish when dualities were embraced rather than fought. In ancient amphitheaters carved from smooth stone, they orchestrated ceremonies where laughter, song, and soft prayers harmonized with the murmuring winds. Elders from both worlds, beings who had long awaited such unity, gathered to witness the melding of traditions. The underworld, once viewed as a realm of isolation, now blossomed into a place where the light of the upper world found a new expression in the quiet resilience of life renewed. Amid this gentle revolution, nature itself seemed to respond. Budding flowers emerged where once barren soil reigned, and streams of crystal water reflected the merging hues of dawn and twilight. The ritual of bridging the two worlds was not a grandiose spectacle, but a series of intimate moments. A shared smile between a newly awakened spirit and an ancient tree. The soft glow of fireflies dancing in celebration of newfound hope. Persephone's role transformed into that of a mediator, a symbol of the possibility that differences need not be sources of conflict, but can instead serve as the foundation for deeper connection. Hades, whose realm had been painted in hues of solitary dusk, revealed layers of warmth and compassion that resonated with every life form around him. Together, they cultivated an environment where sorrow was gently transmuted into joy, and where the cyclical nature of life was honored in every whispered breath of the wind. The bridging of the two worlds was marked by quiet triumphs, a harmonious melding of traditions, an enduring commitment to growth, and an unspoken promise that even the most distinct realms could find common ground. In every shared ritual, in every tender conversation between the realms, the promise of unity grew stronger, echoing the timeless truth that every ending harbored the seed of a new beginning. The final chapter of this transformative tale unfolds as a serene new dawn rises over both worlds, with the barriers between the realms softened by mutual understanding and nurtured by the tender hands of Persephone and Hades. A fresh era of harmony was on the horizon. The arrival of the new dawn was not merely a natural event, it was a symbolic culmination of the journey from isolation to unity, from sorrow to joyful rebirth. As the first light of morning caressed the land, the upper world and the underworld greeted each other with a gentle exchange of warmth and light. The soft hues of sunrise danced with the lingering shadows of night, merging in a breathtaking panorama that defied dichotomy. This ethereal moment, imbued with the quiet power of renewal, reminded every living being that transformation was an ever-present force, ready to weave beauty from contrast. In a grand yet tender celebration of life's perpetual rhythm, Persephone and Hades stood side by side at the meeting point of both realms, a sacred clearing where nature, spirit, and history converged. Their eyes met in a silent affirmation of their shared journey, a deep understanding that the cycles of life, death, and rebirth were all essential notes in the symphony of existence. Together, they had rewritten the old stories, casting aside notions of confinement and despair to embrace a destiny of balance and endless possibility. The final ceremonies were held under an expansive sky that glowed with the promise of hope. Elders, spirits, and nature's creatures gathered in harmonious assembly, each one contributing their unique energy to the blossoming future. Soft music, the gentle rustling of leaves, and the murmurs of heartfelt prayers blended into a serene chorus that celebrated unity. It was a moment when every soul, regardless of its origin, felt the pull of a shared destiny, an invitation to grow, to love, and to continuously renew. As the celebration reached its gentle crescendo, the realms experienced a subtle yet profound transformation. The upper world felt more connected to the underworld, and the underworld, once shrouded in solemn mystery, revealed itself as a nurturing ground for regeneration. The cycle of seasons, now seen as an eternal dance between light and dark, became a testament to the possibility of harmonious coexistence. Every sunrise became a reminder life was an ever-turning wheel, a promise that every end was seamlessly interwoven with a new beginning. In that tranquil new dawn of harmony, Persephone and Hades embraced their roles as both guides and guardians of this emerging era. Their journey, marked by unexpected twists and tender revelations, had culminated in a reality where differences were celebrated as essential harmonies in the grand melody of existence. The story ended, not with a final farewell, but with an open invitation, a soothing promise that as long as the cycle of life endured, so too would the everlasting dance of unity, hope, and renewal.